Okay, so I found this article on the supposed Andy Ngo thing, uh, and you know what? Just to make it a little more pleasurable, let's put the music on. So apparently, Andy Ngo participated in in some violent attack by a group called Patriot Prayer, and this guy on Imager, I'll see if I can track him down. Oh yeah, Imager is still down, probably. Yeah, I'll get back to that later. Sorry, I'm getting very distracted. Okay, so the claim here, and this is from portlandmercury.com. First I've ever heard of that publication. This is from 2019, August 26, 2019. This guy named Ben infiltrated into a right-wing group, a far-right group, and Andy Ngo was marching with them and recording. And apparently he stopped recording when certain things were going on within the group. Andy tends to record Antifa and BLM, most of all, specifically Antifa. And I guess the claim here is that Andy is being biased and he's sort of covering up the bad goings on in right-wing circles like Patriot Prayer. And these guys, Patriot Prayer, were marching, and they were talking about, we've got weapons, and they were talking about, okay, if we get pepper sprayed, which way is the wind blowing, and that kind of thing. I read through this whole article, and there's a video down here somewhere. Further down. Yeah, there's a video. It's 18 minutes long. I skimmed it. I just kind of, clicked through, and I was looking for any kind of scuffle, any kind of violence. I'm not in favor of anyone instigating violence. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. My channel is called Attempted Centrist for a reason. I want to get to a point where principles matter most in our culture, and to me, nonviolence has always been my first and foremost. I am a disciple of Bob Marley. When I was in my early years, when I was in high school specifically, Bob Marley was my religion. And one of the lines that spoke to me most was it was in the song Zimbabwe, and he said, "I don't want my people to be tricked by mercenaries." That might be the most important line for me of our time, because I see that happening. I feel like my people, I grew up on the left. I was far left. I was communist. If I heard some of the things that I said back then, I would probably slap my younger self, because I was an idiot. But I always wanted to have conversations. I never stopped. I always wanted to, and I didn't care if you agreed with me or not. I love the debate. I live for it. I still do. It's never gonna change. That's why I'm starting this channel, because I just want to get back into it. And it's interesting to me that this guy infiltrated into a far-right group, and I think it's good that he did that. I want people to do more of that. Like James O'Keefe, right? He does undercover investigative journalism, and you find one of two things. You find wrongdoing and report on it, or you find nothing. You find people who are just obeying the law and being good citizens, and you probably just throw the story in the trash because you've got nothing. So we don't see those results, right? I'm sure James O'Keefe has mountains and mountains and mountains of footage that it was nothing. Like there was no real wrongdoing there. But it's still a good pursuit, even if you end up with nothing for a long time. Just keep going. If you find somebody on the right, like if this group, if Patriot Prayer was throwing the first punch and that was caught on film, I would agree. Yeah, put him in prison. I don't care. Like I would really rather somebody get punished for their crimes than not. And nobody is exempt from that. I don't care if you're Antifa or BLM or Patriot Prayer or Proud Boys or whoever. I don't care. If you are violent, if you throw the first punch, jail. Done. So I was looking through this article to see if I could find evidence of that. I wanted to see, are these guys actually throwing the first punch? This video didn't tell me anything about it. All it was, you know, guys walking. I skimmed it. I didn't watch it,
theatrics.
You know, minute for minute, second for second.
I mean,
I don't want to do that all on.
So he kind of just
But
ran.
what I was looking for, skimming through it, was any kind of
the block away.
Any kind of scuffle.
Turn
I
the
wanted
corner.
to see if the
Yeah, man. I was the person that got hit.
Really?
The worst that I saw in this was they were talking about they were carrying weapons, right? I also don't care about that. Like I'm quite happy to be armed myself. I actually really want to live in a constitutional carry state, not because I want to hurt anyone. Quite the contrary. I never, if that's ever your goal by being armed, you're living wrong. You just are. It's the most horrific thing you could like, having to defend yourself, especially with lethal force, is the most horrific thing you would ever have to do in your life. And I hope you and I and everyone that we love never has to do that. If you are armed with the intent of hurting somebody, I have no sympathy for you. And if somebody has to defend themselves from you, good riddance. I'm sorry. Go away. Leave the planet. I'm not. It's not a threat. I'm not a violent person. I wish so deeply for a non-violent world, and I don't think self-defense is an act of violence per se. I mean, you could argue technically it is, but it doesn't make a person a bad, violent person. So the question with this article, coming back to this article, was there a punch thrown, and who threw it first? And it does later on talk about a brawl. You know, the cider riot is what it's called. And, you know, they came into contact with a bunch of Black Bloc Antifa activists, anti-fascists as they call themselves. They're not anti-fascist. They are about as fascist as it gets. It's such a moronic name, Antifa. Yeah, if you use violence and the threat of violence to further a political agenda, you are a fascist. If you read the definition of fascism, that's it. That's the action that earns you that title of fascist. So Antifa is completely fascist. You can't just say, you expect me to believe you just by calling yourself that. That's like me saying, oh, I'm anti-smoking, I'm anti-tobacco, and I'm chain smoking cigarettes. That's the equivalent. You would believe me if I told you I'm anti-tobacco and anti-smoking? You would believe me if I'm just doing it right in front of you? Would you? I don't think you would. So, Antifa, come on. BLM, honestly, it's not much different. They don't care about black people. They care about their political agenda, and any black person who doesn't agree with their political agenda is persona non grata. So the color of your skin does not apply the way the name would suggest. Not even close. Kind of digressing. Okay, back to the article. They say that there was a riot. They say that there were, in this article, maybe I've even seen footage of it. I've seen a lot of footage of a lot of riots and whatnot. I'm not aware of this one directly, and it would be nice if in this article they actually included video footage of the supposed riot, because then I could actually make a determination of who threw the first punch. I'm not seeing it here. So if you got a link, if you can show me who threw the first punch here, please, give me some evidence. Give me something that I can actually analyze, because I can't take the word of this Ben character who's undercover, not his real name, whatever. Yeah, it's not trustworthy until I see something. So give me something. Provide me a link. All right. Closing stream. That's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to do for this one. So thank you. Peace.